I haven't felt love since elementary, my dear Watson. Yo, what's up and welcome back. Yes, back to Angel's Reach as always. I'm Angel, and today it's Film Friday, baby. Now, I watched The Sheep Detective with my friends, a murder mystery whodunit directed by Kyle Balda. And I didn't know much about this movie. I knew Hugh Jackman was going to be in it, and I knew it was like murder mystery with sheep, but I didn't know how that would sort of play out. And so it is a basically the whole premise of the movie is Hugh Jackman plays a shepherd who reads uh, murder mystery stories to sheep every day and takes good care of them, and then one day is murdered, and so the sheep have to figure out. Well, they don't have to, but the sheep go out of their way to find out what happened to their shepherd George, and played by Hugh Jackman again. And essentially, the gimmick of this movie is like the star-studded cast. I mean, it shares vocal performances from Julia Louis Dreyfus, Bryan Cranston, Chris O'Dowd, Patrick Stewart is in this. Bella Ramsey, my friend, who watched the Last of Us show, I think recognized her voice from it, and so yeah, I think the movie was super lighthearted. It had a lot of emotional moments. I think the plot was fantastic. I found myself loving all the characters, and yeah, I gave this movie like an 8 out of 10. I think 7 out of 10, something like that. I really enjoyed watching it, and I would definitely watch it again and see like sort of maybe foreshadowing or watch how the clues add up, and maybe see the people's faces and stuff, and see sort of how that translates to who actually did it and stuff like that. Yeah, so a lot of the joy from this movie, I think, comes from watching the sheep. Obviously, the sheep and the rams interact with the humans because they obviously can't communicate via language that they know that something is up because um, Hugh Jackman's daughter, estranged daughter, and son both come into play when they all get called in, and they have to sort of figure out what's going to happen with what's going to happen with the shepherd's um, will. And so in the will, he describes like uh, he gathered a bunch of people together, and for some reason had like a like a limerick, like a riddle for some reason that he was gonna leave his will to his daughter and certain people and stuff. I can't explain the ending of the plot right now because I'm too fucking tired. I just woke up. Actually, I shouldn't be tired because I just woke up. But I don't want to spoil too much of the plot. But it's a whodunit. The Sheeps have a lot to do with it. The Sheeps have a lot of like the Sheeps are really smart. They know the people really well. Not only does the main character, I Lily, the main sheep, she's really smart and caring and named after George's late wife, but she's also just really smart in terms of just like figuring out who done it. And very frequently is a motif in the movie that she says like, yeah, but that's in the book. This is real life. They're very two separate things, and like just because I'm like good at figuring out murder mysteries in the book does not mean I actually am good at like solving a murder case in real life. And it has the movie also touches on like identity and person, like identity, figuring out who you are, sort of like understanding like that you're a part of a bigger community at times, or like even sometimes I think it encouraged to be like the winter lamb. The winter lamb, the winter sheep. I think it was a sort of message in the movie where winter sheep, there were sheep that were born in winter lambs. I want to say winter lamb because that sounds more like what they were saying, but winter lamb are not a part, like they're ostracized in groups because eventually they separate from the group and become their own, you know what I mean? At least that's what I took from the movie. Like it showed like the Bryan Cranston's character being sort of on his own the whole time, and people grew suspicious of him because he wasn't with the group. And then all of a sudden, like he's seen the night of Hugh Jackman's murder, and so it really like drills home the idea of like being different. There's also a small winter lamb character. I forget who plays her, but like at the end of the movie, she's finally accepted into the flock, or he. Yeah, I think it's a guy because I think they name it George at the end, and so but like throughout the whole movie, this little lamb, winter lamb, is like ostracized from the group and not let in, and like you sort of see the sheep change their ways as the movie goes on, and the character progression from like not wanting to cross the road, and there was a funny chicken crossing the road joke there, to like accepting somebody who you're like initially through cultural reasonings you like had your own opinion of, but then like I mean naturally learn to accept them for who they are. I thought that was pretty sweet. I thought that Bryan Cranston's sacrifice and his backstory working at the circus and then eventually going up to do dogfights and stuff, that was pretty sad. I think his sacrifice was very noble. I love all the character, like all the sheep characters. Like the live action characters are great, but I mean that was again the B. I guess technically the A plot, but I mean, I found myself a little bit less interested when the live action stuff came into play. I really like this, like the sheep and like their personalities. But again, one of the characters that I really loved on this movie was the incompetent policeman, who was played by none other than Greg from Succession. And I'm gonna have to look up his name as an actor because I want to give him props. But in this movie, he played a like sort of incompetent detective that had to work with the clues that he got, and like very few detective work was actually done, and he actually got the case cracked from him by the sheep. They were actually giving him evidence, and like they were there sort of as like what is the right, not red herrings, but they were sort of like messengers, and like there when things went wrong, awry, so that he could sort of piece things together. And so while I wasn't a fan of the ending, I thought that the person that ended up being the culprit and everything like that was kind of like I think rushed, maybe forced. It really didn't make sense at the end, but I think everything leading up to it was fantastic. I was like, I don't know who it could be. It could be him. You know what I mean? Like we have this, we have multiple characters, multiple motives, and like I thought it was amusing. I thought it was, you know, it was cool. I like that Rachel sort of played this victim card and she knew that she was super innocent. I wish she fought more and stuff, but like she sort of played this passive, let everything happen to her sort of character that kind of sucked, because I think that if she spoke up more for herself and explained things more, it would go more her way. But yeah, the sheep definitely were the major part of this movie, and then that's where most of my love comes from. Oh, I forgot to look up Greg from Succession's name. Uh Greg Hirsch. Oh wait, no, Nicholas Braun. There we go. I was like, why? His name's Greg. That's crazy. Nicholas Braun. Um, really funny actor. I think my friend was saying something about like, oh, you were so hype as soon as you saw him. They typecasted him, and I was like, yeah, kind of. Like I was so excited to see him in the same role. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. He does it super well. I'm not like you know, yucking anyone's yum because they're like, you know, one note. If you're one note and you do that one note really well, I mean, get your bag. You know what I mean? He played a really dumb, you know, goofy, you know, not all the way there cop, and like a lot of the comedy in the movie came from his interactions with the sheep and like how weird that was, and yeah, I mean, there was a lot of red herrings in the movie, things that were sort of throwing you off. Then, like, when in the will, there was written that there was like two murderers and a butcher and something like that, and a bad shepherd, and then like just the wording of the will was crazy to make the plot make sense. So, I mean, there's a lot of ridiculous stuff in here that I think obviously doesn't make sense. This isn't a super fucking solid murder mystery whodunit. I mean, I haven't seen Knives Out, but I imagine that's like a better murder mystery whodunit sort of thing. Like I love like a murder mystery. Like one of my favorite Family Guy episodes is like Who Killed James Woods. You know what I mean? That like 40-minute special. What was it? Maybe it was an hour. I don't know. But like I remember re-recording that over and over. Like I love murder mysteries. I love a whodunit. I like to think I'm smart, but then I never find out who it is or anything like that. But I think that's good writing. I think like being able to be like, oh, it could be them. It could be them. It could be them. I think just like having that many options and stuff is super fun. I like oh man, this movie was I enjoyed this movie so much. You know what I mean? I really needed like a lighthearted sort of identity piece. Like I mean, Surfs Up was a pretty lighthearted identity piece also. But I mean like this movie, man, this movie was so fun. I want to go watch it again. I'm probably going to go watch it this week or next week again, just so I can look at people's facial expressions and see if their actions match their faces and stuff. And because I already know who did it and stuff, I can see like the evidence leading up to all the red herrings, all the freaking distractions, and all the actual pieces of evidence. I think that's going to be super fun on rewatch. Yeah. The Sheep Detective, super fun movie. I know my friend wasn't a super big fan of it, slept through some of it, and my other friend wasn't the most moved by it. So like I don't know, I guess it's not for everybody. If you like a murder mystery joint, I think this will be kind of fun and interesting. Though again, my other friend who like watched Knives Out said Knives Out was just much better. So I mean, like I haven't seen it, but there's another perspective for you guys, just making sure you guys have all the freaking, you know what I mean? It's not just me in this bit, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just me. But yeah, I think I thought Hugh Jackman was going to play more of a role in it, but like the gimmick, the main meat and potato of this movie is like the voice acting and like the way that the sheep interact with each other. There's this really funny concept of them, of sheep being able to like purposely or like oh my gosh, I'm so out of focus, man. There's this running joke along the movie that sheep are able to just forget whatever they want to forget, and not too shortly after remembering George's death, they all like kind of agree to like forget about it. And it's really funny because these two twin characters, like these two beefy jockhead twin characters, go on and forget that they had a George, I think, and that they no, they forgot that they wanted to help because they realized that like it was like too much for them, and then like towards the movie they have like this callback to them and like them being justice and just us, you know what I mean? And it's really funny. I really do think that there are like the writing in this movie is really funny. I think like it's like the characters are really sweet and the relationships with each other. Like the way that they, like, oh my gosh, the way that they interact is so it's charming. It's charming. A bunch of animals doing their thing, you know, trying to remember like what they're trying to remember their owner, the memory of Lillian remembering Hugh Jackman, George the Shepherd. I mean, that was super sweet. She was like, "Are you real?" And he's like, "I'm as real as ever because you didn't forget me." And the sadness of Lily not knowing Lily figuring out that her friend Mabel was like remembering all the deaths of everybody and purposely choosing to like stay with it. Oh, that was just heartbreaking. The idea of like it's the idea of you remembering me that keeps me alive. I thought that was super super sweet. I thought that was killer. Even some of the shots in this movie were pretty beautiful. There's a scene specifically where spoiler alert, Bryan Cranston's character dies. And it's like a completely cloudy, darky. What? It's a dark and cloudy, moody, dark blue sort of color grading shot, and like it's super foggy, and it's sort of like foreshadowing. They're like meant to go and they find out that they're gonna have a new shepherd because of the death of their shepherd, and they go to the other side of the meadow to see. Ironically, other side of the meadow. Gosh, that kind of sounds like what you get sent when you die. You know, the great meadow in the sky. But they go to the side of the meadow to where the other shepherds sheep are, and they see they're just completely zombies, essentially, really dark. You can't see their eyes or faces, and like they have like these bells on them, almost like they're like the ring of death or something like that. I don't know. It's like an ominous, like looming, like dark. Yeah, you know a cowbell. You know what I mean? They had like the cowbell bells on their like neck, and it almost sounded like the ringing of church bells, and like it was so dope. It was such a dope scene. I was like, oh yeah. I turned to my friend. I was like, oh yeah, GG, someone's gonna die here. Yeah, somebody has to die. It's way too dark. This is way too much. Like it's written all. It's on their face. It's on their forehead. You know, it's written all over. Someone's gonna die. And Brian's character did die, and I was super sad. But it did lead to Lillian understanding the importance of death and like how I mean, not important it is to die, but how critical of a role that sort of plays into identity and like the longevity, I should say, like how long you're remembered and stuff. And at the end of the movie, when they're all reading and stuff, when Rachel finally gets a hold of the sheep and doesn't give in to like the bad shepherd allegedly, and then the butcher who worked together to like raise sheep and like kill them for meat. And Rachel actually ends up telling them a story like how to. It's a cute moment because it's a callback to Hugh Jackman, George, their shepherd, reading to them. At the end of the movie, Rachel's reading a book to them, how to raise sheep 101, written by George, I think. And as she's reading, Lillian turns around and welcomes George into the flock. Then the winter lamb that they now name George because like you know she realizes that like his identity needs to remain and stuff like that. And but also as Rachel's reading it, Lily turns, I think, to the clouds and sees Bryan Cranston's cloud, like a ram, a really dark ram behind a sunset, and it's really beautiful because it's a callback again to the sheep at the beginning of the movie. The sheep talk about murders and stuff like that, and there's this really curious goat lamb. I think actually that might have been Bella Ramsey's character because she was the super curious one with the dark hair and stuff. Yeah. Bella Ramsey's character. Oh my god, bro! Somebody's always dying in this neighborhood, man. Why? Okay. I'm not really mad. I'm not really mad. It's just loud all the time. And when I'm this far in a recording, I'm like, this could like literally throw me off. So Bella Ramsey's character asked about death, and Lily's character, Lillian, one of the main sheep characters, responds that death only happens to humans. Sheeps don't die, they just become clouds, you know what I mean? And so seeing I had a feeling that that was going to come back because of like, I mean, like, I'm a super hopeless romantic, and I'm a really big like emotional person, and like I find a lot of comfort in nature, like the clouds, the sky, and stuff like that. I oftentimes find myself stargazing, or cloud watching, staring off into the distance, just imagining stuff, like getting emotional and just like being in one with fucking, I don't know, everything. And so um there have been many a times where I've thought I've seen a past loved one or something like that, or even someone alive today in the clouds, and I just get emotional. And um yeah, so I was like, oh, that might be something they're gonna do, but I didn't get my hopes up. And then at the end, they saw Bryan Cranston after his sacrifice, and I thought that was such an emotional moment to end, and such an emotional tearjerker to end on. I think the movie was super good. I really, really recommend it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen Knives Out. I don't think I've seen too many like murder mysteries, who done it, sort of thing. I feel like, not that I remember. I know I said I love them. I just love the concept of it. If I like solving a mystery, like I would read mystery books and like Goosebumps book and stuff like that. And when I was a kid, and those always had some sort of like mystery element to it, problem solving element to it. And yeah, sort of seeing what happens next, how they're gonna deal with it. Always a big fan of that. And I think this movie, while gimmicky and like the sheep and voice acting, a lot of the like jokes come from Patrick Stewart being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a lamb," you know, like that sort of crazy stuff. Or um like again, the sheep ostracizing themselves is pretty funny. The two twins being jock characters, having like one liners every once in a while. Just the what's it called, the disconnect that sheep obviously have with humans, not knowing their lifestyle and everything like that. Yeah. Bryan Cranston's character, again, like I kind of, he was aura farming through the whole movie. He was like sort of this dark, mature character that knows the deep secrets and everything like that, and like he's like troubled by his past. And like I was like, all right, come on, buddy, like you're gonna have to give us a little bit more than that so that we can actually like you as a character. And then like he did a lot to like talk about like, oh, you guys don't really understand the idea of like what it means to love, and you guys don't know what it means to be yourself, and like to you know what I mean, not belong, and you guys should like look at things differently, essentially change your perspective on things, be more welcoming, etc. Nothing, you know, nothing life changing, I think, but I think it was some decent advice that Lillian took to heart, and it helped with the case. So like, yeah, again, the live action parts of this movie, I thought were okay. Like the characters, I mean, not too memorable, but I mean, it's mostly about the sheep, and again, their relationships, their problem solving abilities, how they go about everything. And I really recommend it. I'm gonna go probably check it out again soon. And yeah, that was Film Friday. Hopefully that's long enough of a video. This is actually just take two. I was getting ready to do a couple of takes of this and get upset. That freaking ambulance almost really did it for me. But thanks for checking out the video. Whatever, like, subscribe, hit the comment, hit the bell, like, subscribe, comment. What the fuck am I saying, man? Remember to hit the bell so you're notified whenever I actually upload. And whatever. Goodbye. Watch The Sheep Detective, and let me know what you think about it. And also rewatch The Sheep Detective on second rewatch. On second rewatch? What the fuck am I talking about? I'm gonna end the video. Bye.